Hey everybody, it's Aram Banyan.
Timothy Bennett here.
Welcome to B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies.
Part 2 of John Hughes.
This is a continuation of our discussion on John Hughes from last week.
We didn't say episode 4, did we?
We didn't.
Oh, it's episode 4.
Yeah, it's episode 4. Figure it out.
I'm not going to do another take. This is like 6th take.
Yeah, we're getting kind of punchy at this point.
Either way.
Yeah, so this is a continuation of our discussion of John Hughes and his films and his impact on society and culture as a whole. So this picks up right where we left off last week.
Yeah, we had a lot to say, so
yeah,
enjoy.
I don't remember.
Or was it The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd?
I made some notations about all these movies that I watched. So the big note I have for Some Kind of Wonderful is...
It ties in with Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Does it?
Did you not notice that Kevin Bacon was in it?
Oh, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Yeah, I remember that.
So when Kevin Bacon was racing him to go to the cab or whatever, that is actually picking up from She's Having a Baby. She's Having a Baby.
Okay.
And when they're in the airport and he's on the phone... Steve Martin's on the phone. Yeah. You can hear the fight that Kevin Bacon and his wife are having in the airport. Oh. Yep.
Okay. I'm not talking about She's Having a Baby, though.
No, I know. You said it.
You jumped into a conversation we weren't having.
I'm sorry. You said She's Having a Baby, and I had to jump in there before I forgot to say that.
Did I say that?
I don't know. Maybe you didn't.
I don't think I did.
My foot is down.
Okay. But so... Some Kind of Wonderful. There's a movie from 1997 with Will Friedle.
Will Friedle.
He played Eric on.
Yes, that's right. He's in Critical Role.
Yep. There's a movie he did called Trojan War.
Yep. Oh, I love that movie. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
There are so many aspects of Trojan War that are basic ripoffs of Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh, is it Seth Green?
Seth Green's not it.
No,
that's Can't Hardly Wait.
Who the fuck else? Who? It's Danny Masterson's. Yeah, that's who it is. Danny Masterson's.
Oh, Anthony Michael Hall is in it as a recurring character.
Oh God, really?
He's the bus driver.
Oh man, it's been so long. It's been so. Oh yeah. No, that's right. Oh God, it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
But yeah, so I think it's not a carbon copy, but like there were plenty of pieces they ripped off of Some Kind of Wonderful, especially the ending, because in the end, they both run after the person they realize they really want. Yeah. Yeah. Same way. The only difference is Eric Stoltz gives Mary Stuart Masterson a pair of earrings. Will Friedle has a condom, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yup. God, that's right. The whole fucking movie is all about him going all over goddamn town just to find a goddamn condom. Yep. I remember the El Camino.
Yeah, because he goes to a Latin bar.
Yeah,
and ends up like winning some sort of salsa dance contest with this like very loud, heavier set Latino lady who falls in love with him, and her brother is like constantly trying to catch them.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that film.
That's a buck wild movie. Eric Balfour is in it too.
And it's a total forgotten gem.
Yep.
It's just one of those, like, if you haven't seen it, you know shit about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
There's so many people I could be like, oh, you ever see Trojan War? I'd be like, you mean about the Trojan War? I've seen Troy. Like, no. Yeah. Not the same thing.
I've seen Troy. Not even close. Not even close. I mean, he's trying to hide something, but...
Right. He's trying to hide his dick.
and that was when Jennifer Love Hewitt was a smoking babe.
Yeah.
I mean, she
I mean, it's not like she got acid thrown on her or something like that. But
not at all. She's still smoking. It's just, I guess I read that she was fucking whoring around. Like, she was married to or dated Jamie Kennedy for like a year or something like that. Why the fuck would you do that?
I don't know,
she had more money. It wasn't for money, I can tell you that. She probably was making more money.
He probably had the right sense of humor for her.
Or a big dick.
I mean, I'd choose not to dwell on that idea, but... so that was my big thing about Some Kind of Wonderful. That and the fact that Elias Koteas, even being his first movie, he improvised most of those lines. Yeah. So if you watch it and watch all the things he says, he's making that shit up.
And we just talked about this. My favorite scene is when the dad's going off. I don't know if we said it before the podcast.
It was before we were recording, but yeah.
But we were when he's talking about his life and stuff. The kid is talking about his life
because the dad is overbearing on college, and he's mad because Keith takes all the money out to buy these earrings and do all this stuff for this date, and the dad freaks. Yep. And finally, Keith stands up for himself. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're only 18. Well, then I'm 19. Then I'm 20. When is my life my life?
Yep. And that is my favorite. Like, it stuck with me for however long ago I've seen that movie. I must have seen it because that has always stuck with me. It's been such a prevalent line in any teenager, just anybody who's trying to. I mean, teenagers have an identity crisis to begin with. They're trying to figure their shit out. But when you have an overbearing parent, you're just hurting.
I think it's poignant for both sides of the argument. For a parent to hear, you're only 18, but well, then I'm 19, then I'm 20.
Yeah.
When do I get to make my own choices?
Leaving the nest.
Like, you have to let them at some point make their own choice.
Yeah, I've thought about that when Wesley is getting over. I've kind of pretended that it's going to happen soon, so I can kind of get that out of my system. So when it happens, I'm cold stone.
Right.
I'm just, nope.
We always tell the joke that my dad, when I turned 18, my dad when I was 17, my dad hung a note on my door that said checkout time is 18.
Yeah. I didn't get a choice. I got my stepdad put up the house for sale. I was like, well, I guess I got to find a new place to live, huh?
So another movie I watched was Baby's Day Out, which
is great.
I love it. It's got a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God, why?
I have no idea.
It's a great cast.
It's a great cast. I am a little put off by how intense Cynthia Nixon's love for that child is, even though it's not hers.
But I mean, it's babies. I think it's just trying to say that women love babies, which
she's just off-putting with how intense she is on the baby. But I can honestly say that movie, all I need are the scenes with the 3 kidnappers, because they make me laugh every time. Yeah. I was watching it the other night. I was guffawing at stuff that they were doing. Like, in the first thing that they do, where they show up dressed as the photographers, and Joe Mantegna is sitting in the chair talking about the one guy goes, "Oh, do you think this will work?" He's like, "No, I just thought I'd like to get the chair." And then the other guy plugs something in, and a big fucking spark goes up. I laughed my ass off. It was just a well done joke. It was the first joke of the movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen since I've watched it, but
yeah,
I do remember it.
Joe Mantegna, Joe Pantoliano, and Brian Haley. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Laura Flynn Boyle is the mother, who is not aware of a lot of things that to do with her 1-year-old. But yeah, I just honestly I don't need any of that movie except for the scenes with the kidnappers.
Okay, so first of all, the one thing I think is crazy about that film is, how did that baby not die?
Right.
There's
the fantasy part about
it.
Right, it's the baby's recreating the book. So he's doing all these things from his book.
It's just crazy, though. That child should have been dead 100 times over.
For sure. Those should have been dead. Who does not see a baby rolling around in department stores, a bus, on the street,
right? Off a fucking windowsill or whatever. Yeah. Or it was a construction thingy.
Yeah, the construction. How did nobody notice them? Notice the baby. Nobody notices the 3 kidnappers trying to catch the baby.
Although I will say that the one thing about the movie that always stuck with me, that freaks me out a little bit, is that baby smiles all the fucking time. Through the entire film, that baby's just fucking gaped mouth smile, and it creeps me out because no baby should be that happy.
Nope.
It should be crying a lot.
At some point, it should have been upset.
But it wasn't.
But it never did.
I also...
Again, fantasy.
Yeah, I also... This is just kind of mentioned. I also really love 3 Men and a Baby.
That's a good movie.
Now, I think I like that one better than this one. I mean, it's not the same concept. It's just that you're dealing with baby films, and
it's an entirely different setup. And I
feel like they came out about the same time.
No,
I don't know.
I think
3 Men and a Baby came out earlier.
Was in the late 80s.
Yeah,
I think it was 89 or 88, and then Baby's Day Out was 94. Yeah, 94.
Oh yeah, you're right. 1987 was 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah. 3 Men and a Little Lady may have come out closer to Baby's Day Out.
And Baby's Day Out was 94, so either way.
But yeah, Uncle Buck, did you notice in Uncle Buck, have you ever noticed all the teenagers in that high school, like when he's dropping Tia off that first day, they're all wearing trench coats and like berets.
Yep.
They all look like
Fucking
combinations
beatniks.
of Ducky and Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally see that. And yeah, I've noticed that style. They all look like beatniks to me. Just
like
fucking
they're trying to be emo, but
fucking
not
hipster
emo. Yeah.
beatniks, whatever.
It's
Poetry
it's
readings,
fucking
but
weird.
yeah. I will say that I love when John Candy goes and to the party and he's just like drinking and party. Hey, that's my hat, and you know.
Yep.
Or
the other thing I'll say
what happens
about-
to bugs, don't you? Bug, light bulb.
The other thing I will say about Uncle Buck is when he's trying to get his bags out of his closet, and that bowling
the
ball
bowling
falls on his
ball?
head. That should have killed him.
It should have killed him.
At the very least, given him a concussion and knocked him out, to which he would have died from.
Well, you know, in all fairness, it looked like he took it pretty well. I love Uncle Buck. The fucking pancake scene, man. I've always wanted to do that because of that goddamn film. I'm like,
Yep.
is that possible? Can you make pancakes that big at home?
You can.
I've never
I mean,
tried.
if you've got the flat top griddle and you've got a big enough spatula, you can.
I don't even know what the fuck he was using. He was just using
He was using a snow shovel.
well, to flip it, but I don't know what the fuck he was. It was just like
Well,
a giant.
it's a flat
sheet.
top range they had installed into the.
It doesn't look like it was attached. It was hanging over the edge.
No, it's on the end of an island.
That's what I'm saying. It was
Yeah.
hanging over the edge. That's what I'm saying. There's like space.
Their whole apparatus,
I was like,
it's like the countertop and the oven and everything
oh
are all
my
on one
God.
island.
I just all I know is I've always wanted to do
It
that.
was a weird.
Always
sort of-
wanted to do that. I think it would be fucking awesome, dude. That'd be the best birthday pancake thing ever.
I love when he says, "You should see the toast. I can hardly get it through the door."
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because Macaulay, oh my God, that's bigger than me.
Because there's like 6 of those pancakes, and then just a pile of sausage around it.
Yeah, a brick of butter.
Yeah, it's 2, I think.
Yep, Uncle Buck has always been one of my favorites as well. It's a soft spot.
The other thing I have to ask is, everybody knows him in that bowling scene when they go bowling.
Yeah,
Everybody knows him there. Did he drive back to Chicago to go bowling with those children?
I guess I don't know. I
Because
suppose.
there's too many people that know him there.
Yeah, because how long? It was like a 4-hour drive or something right there, right? Because they said it in the
definitely had
beginning.
a couple hours.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. Probably.
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
Especially in that car.
Yeah. Every time it backfires. Yep. I also love when John Candy sticks it to that fucking principal with the fucking witch.
She's only 6. That is not an excuse.
Right.
That whole scene that's another
Flips him a
great.
corner. Take this, or nickel or whatever.
Here's
He's
a
like,
quarter.
take it.
Go downtown and get a rat to gnaw
that-
that thing off your face.
Yep. That's great. John Candy, man. I love John Candy. We got to do John Candy.
We will.
I think he has some of the best films.
He does. Yeah, I wrote down for Plane, Trains, and Automobiles the Kevin Bacon cameo. I thought the lack of airport security was very telling of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just running through the terminal. Like, he's not.
It's true.
There's no checkpoints, nothing. He just went in.
That's true. Yeah, I there's, like I said, I think there's only a couple films that you can kind of say are timeless, that go through the age. And like I said, like Ferris Bueller, I feel like is one of those that, for the most part, you could see that happening today.
Yep.
Like everything about it, but there are definitely things that go, well, there's the 80s for you.
Okay, so here's the one thing I did notice about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So when they first meet in the airport, did you happen to notice the title of the book John Candy's reading?
Yep, the Canadian Mountie.
The Canadian Mounted.
Mounted. It was done intentionally because of him being a Canadian, and it's him playing an American.
I thought it was funny that it looked like he was reading erotic literature.
It does.
I was
It
like,
really. Well, it's
wait
because
a
of the woman.
Yeah.
That's all like spreaded and half bare. Like
I was like, the Canadian Mounted?
Yeah, I guess it was done for an inside joke because it's John Candy's Canadian
that was
who's playing an American. But no, I totally agree. It seems like an erotic. I just love. He just kind of like looks up. Is like,
He's like,
I know you, don't I?
that one shot, like when he like pulls the cab door open and you see John Candy go,
Yeah. Oh, you scared the bejesus out of me. Yep.
and then the couple notes I have for the Great Outdoors is so Cammy, the girl that Buck it tries to like is falling for and whatnot. When he first meets her in the pool hall and whatever, and they pool stick between the legs, she runs off. How old is Canby? Because the next thing we see, she's sitting in a gazebo smoking, and she's got a job.
Yeah.
I'm just like
teenager.
I was perplexed because he's like what, 14 or 15.
How long ago? What age could you start smoking? And it was the 90s. It wasn't an 80s film, was it? Was it like early 90s?
1988.
Oh, okay, so it is the 80s. I mean, 8.
I still don't think they'd sell you cigarettes.
I mean, I guess you didn't need to though. You could just steal from your parents or something. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I was just like, I was like, how old is she? Because she talks about, I've never had a boyfriend for longer than 2 weeks. And I was like, how many boyfriends have you had?
Yeah, but then again...
And like I say, Buck is maybe 15?
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know.
So I was just thrown off by that. The only other 2 notes I made were, bears do not have butt cheeks. Yeah. And I was the only thing that prompted me was because I noticed it when they shot the bear at the end. There's 2 butt cheeks just as he's running away. And I was like, that's not right. That's not anatomically correct.
I've seen those Charmin commercials. That's not right.
And the other thing I never saw it until I was older, is the weird music video dance scene that Dan Aykroyd has during the credits.
I guess I'd have to rewatch it.
Okay, you have to go back and watch it because it is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because Dan Aykroyd is like, it's like the party scene where they're at the bar and like they're celebrating that dead guy's birthday.
Yep.
But like everybody's dancing except for John Candy, of course, who's just kind of smiling and like, but like Aykroyd is dancing with John Candy's wife, and like is like on the floor doing like hip thrusts and like pelvic thrusts and like running all over the place and like lip syncing. It is the fucking wildest thing I've ever seen.
I'll have to rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I know I have it, but it's been a while since I've seen it.
I say it wasn't until the last couple times I watched it that I noticed that there was a whole fucking music video during the credits.
I don't recall that. Yeah, I don't remember that part. I do remember one of my favorite parts about that is when John Candy was supposed to do like the all you eat, or not all you
the old 96er.
Yeah, he's like eating everything, and like he's like slopped down on the floor, like just drooling like a fucking imbecile. Is like, and Dan Aykroyd, he's had enough, and the other guy's like, no, he's got to eat everything. He's like, he did eat everything, not everything.
The exact lines are, he's done. He's like, he's not done. He's like, he might take a minute with that last bite, but it'll go down. He's like, that's not. He's like, that's not everything on the plate. He's like, that's not the last bite. He's like, what are you talking about? There's nothing but fat and gristle on that plate.
Yep.
He's like, mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's like,
oh.
He looks at it and he looks back up and he's like, if I can get a dessert down, can you put some t-shirts in for the kids?
Yep.
and John Katie's just like holding on to his sleeve like he's scared.
Yep. That is just probably one of my favorite parts.
The better part of that scene is when you first see Aykroyd like leaning against John Candy's stomach and hearing it gurgling. He's like, yeah, you're good. Everything's processing nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so...
let's wrap her up.
Yeah, before we finish her off, this is definitely going to be a part 2. We're going to just have to split in half, and it's already like an hour in, but it's fine. So there's a couple things I want to mention. It's like, out of all the films that you've seen, which are a majority of them, and sometime in your life you've seen at least
seen a good portion
90%
of his stuff, yeah.
What would you say is like one of your top favorites? You can maybe for 2 of them if you can really think about it. Well, but what would you say is one of your top favorites?
One of my top favorites, I'd have to say if you want to go like a John Hughes film where like you think of, like that's a John Hughes film, I'd have to go Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yep.
That's one of my favorites. The other one, if you want to give me another one, it borders between Baby's Day Out because it makes me laugh even to this day.
Yeah.
Or Dutch because I just love Ed O'Neill in that movie.
I like Ed O'Neill in general, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that movie, he's the saving grace of that whole movie. Like, the kid is fine. The kid's a dickwad. But Ed O'Neill, I think, is great in that movie.
Yeah.
So I'd probably pick those.
I almost compare... I know it seems a little drastic. I almost compare Over the Top and Dutch to be very similar.
Yeah. I mean,
it's about these, these parents that have to deal with
blue-collar guys that are trying to connect with a child,
snobby little fucking pussy ass
fucking kid.
Yep.
On a road trip.
Yep.
And
so I always like those two to me coming.
And Dutch, I love the fact that at the end he still shoots the kid.
And Ed O'Neill's a big guy compared to fucking that kid.
Yeah,
like he's like, I mean, he is
Ed
a
O'Neill's
football
pretty
player.
Tall guy anyway.
Well, and he was. I'm pretty sure he was a football player. I don't know if he was professional, but he was a football player
he
though.
Might
so
play, high school or college.
Yeah, he is a meaty guy.
Yeah, he's
got some fucking dense arms.
He's in the higher half of 6 feet, isn't he?
Probably.
I think so.
I just know like he's got big hands.
6'6".
He's got fucking like big hands and big forearms right there.
You know who I just noticed the other day? I actually watched the show Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck.
Oh, yep.
And Donnie Wahlberg. Tom Selleck's hands are fucking massive.
Are they?
Like he in that show towers over everybody.
I mean, yeah, he's always. I think he's like 6'4", so.
Yeah, but like his hands, like I watch him like do stuff like comparatively to other people in the scene, and like his hands look like hams.
I just think of Friends when I think of Tom Selleck. Like honestly, I do.
He's got like bear paws.
I guess I've never paid attention. But he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's not a small man.
Tall,
I knew that for sure. But he's very he's got a broad set of shoulders and shit. Getting off of Tom Selleck, we'll get on.
So, you were saying that Baby's Day Out and
like I say, and I think Baby's Day Out is just because I think no one gives Joe Mantegna enough credit for his comedic ability because he is hilarious in that movie.
Yeah,
and I don't think I've ever seen him be that funny in anything else.
Yeah. I guy at work said that he's like, I was like, I'm not a big John Hughes fan, and he's like, I don't think I don't think he has any funny stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm
think
like,
you know what you're talking about,
right? I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, I listed off like, he's like, okay. He's like, I was thinking more like 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink. I'm like, well, those were like his first couple films. You can't just, but. Oh, you said Dutch. Yeah, I like Dutch.
Dutch is a great one.
So you probably say those are your favorite. I think personally, because I got to break down from what he's written to what he's directed, because there's a style that he directs. Yeah, there's a style that he directs with, and it's, I don't know, it's really good style. And I would have to say,
that's why I picked Some Kind of Wonderful is probably my favorite. Like, if you want to pick one of those types of movies, like Some Kind of Wonderful is probably my favorite directed film.
Oh, he didn't direct it though.
He didn't? Are you sure?
Yeah, he didn't direct it. He only directed 8 films. 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck, and Curly Sue. But he wrote the story.
Weird Science then.
Because we just talked about that. Some Kind of Wonderful was directed by that other guy.
That's right. You're right.
What the fuck was his? I just forgot his name.
Something Deutsch.
Yeah, but
Howard Deutsch.
Howard Deutsch. There you go.
I had the first part.
Right.
But then I'd probably pick Weird Science. Probably be my favorite directed film
of his. Yeah. I honestly have to say it would probably be Uncle Buck and Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. Those are probably my favorite.
Uncle Buck, I always
films.
have a soft spot for, just like you.
It's just a good-hearted film. Mm-hmm. It was one of those where you have that teens drama issue stuff that John Hughes was all about, but he was also about finding the balance and like rekindling family value.
Yeah.
And it's all off this estranged fucking figure that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, there's that really great scene where he's kind of just looking at it was after he talks to the mom on the phone, and she's crying and saying she's really glad he's there or scared that he's there, one of the two. I think she said she's scared that he's there. But he's like looking through the wedding album, and he like pulls out the photo and realizes that they folded him underneath.
Him out. Yeah. I think isn't that when he's sitting on the couch? Like, wasn't that when he's sitting on the couch drinking a beer with the dog? Or yeah. Yep.
There's a number of scenes where he's on the couch with the dog.
Yeah.
There's one where he's sitting watching TV eating Frosted Flakes, and he vacuums the crumbs off himself.
Oh, I love it's like, oh, damn it, who let the cat out? We don't have a cat. Get out of here.
I did love when
how expensive so how do you get those China plates? Do they come in sets, or do you have to buy them individually?
From England, huh?
Oh, is that expensive?
Okay. Or I loved when the neighbor comes over and he's yelling at the washing machine. He's like, "What do I got to talk dirty to you?"
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember her name, but she's
it's
Roseanne.
Jackie from Roseanne.
Yeah,
I
she's
can't remember her
Roseanne's
name.
sister. She's also Sheldon's mom in Big Bang Theory.
Oh, word.
Yep.
And I get compliments on the hyphen. I'm sure you do.
There's something about Uncle Buck that
I do
just
love
a
when he
soft spot.
punches the clown.
Oh God, the clown thing. Who do you recognize who the clown is?
I feel like I should, but
It's oh my God, it's the guy from Dumb and Dumber. He was the hitman, the one that had the heart attack because of the pills, the rat
really?
poison. That's him. He's the clown.
I didn't think that was him.
Yeah, he's the clown. I just can't fucking remember his name from the life of me.
I just remember he was like, because he was like, "Oh, I did a bachelorette party last night. If you ever need a dildo joke, I'm your guy."
Right.
And I was like, I never caught that line until I watched it the other night, and I was like, wait a minute.
Right. No, it's because it comes off as a family film.
He says it just quick enough. You have to be listening.
Yeah. So Uncle Buck's always been.
Yeah,
it's
for
always
sure.
gonna be.
It's a wonderful
one of my
movie,
favorite.
and it's definitely a favorite. For whatever reason, like Kelly LeBrock or no. Okay, don't fucking judge me. Weird Science. I like Weird Science, not just for Kelly LeBrock.
I think you made that very clear.
I actually thought the whole movie was. I don't know. I like the whole movie. I guess. By the way, did Bill Paxton seem too old for college?
I think Bill Paxton has that face. He just has a very like
Maybe
droopy, square kind of face. Because if you look at him, he's a fucking twig.
Yeah.
He doesn't
He's
look
not
like
a broad man.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, but like I think he just looks a little older.
Look, he's dead now.
That's true. Sad. I forgot.
He's really thin now.
We even. Yeah, we even talked about that.
When we did Frailty.
Yep, when we did Frailty last season.
But I don't know why. For some reason, just looking at Bill Paxton the last time, I was like, he looks too old to be in college.
I mean, he might have been in like his 20s or something when he was
Maybe.
like
I say, and I could be. It was his first role, so I mean, it could very well be he was
Yep.
younger than I just give him credit for.
I will say that I'm not a big fan of that. Not Anthony Michael Hall, but the other fucking guy.
Well, to his credit, he only did like 2 other movies. So.
Yeah, he's just whiny. It was that high pitch.
Yeah.
It's just.
Did you happen to think that when Gary gets drunk, he became slightly racist?
No, I guess I
When
didn't.
they're in the jazz bar and like he's talking like a black guy.
Oh,
after
that's right.
He's
That's
pissed
right.
drunk and talking like a black guy, and I'm like,
Yo,
what?
man, yeah, that's right. He even
What
puts like
is
he
happening?
puts the sunglasses
He's got
on.
sunglasses on. He's got the fedora
Yep,
on.
that's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember that. That
Talk on
fucking.
the telephone.
Yeah.
Like what? I couldn't get over that this time around. I was like, what happened?
I was also very confused about the ending. For the longest time, I was like, all these bikers that came out of nowhere. I was like, are these guys from like an alternate dimension, like Road Warrior?
It's like Lisa said. She's like, I can get anything I want.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, did these guys literally come out like Road Warrior?
Yeah.
I was just so confused because it came out of nowhere.
The way they leave, like when the one with the
Oh, yeah.
half metal face is like, call me sometime. We'll do lunch. I was like,
Yeah, right.
what?
Sorry about the mess, guys.
the other one, the guy from the Hills Have Eyes is like, could we not mention this? I could lose my teaching job.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so the leader of that is
I've seen him in other shit
he's
too.
in tons of other stuff, and I can't remember his name, but he was in like
Yeah, please come up with it because I
I'll look it up in
recognize
a
that
second,
fucking guy. While you're doing that, the other question I have is, out of John Fuse,
John Fuse.
John
Hughes' less
Hughes,
successful younger brother.
right? John Fuse, spelled Jon.
That was the John that became an electrician.
Yeah. A poor one at that. Out of the John Hughes, I almost said it fucking again. Just like you in the music.
Vernon Wells is that guy's name.
What's he in?
I just got his name. Hold on a second.
Oh, fail.
Settle down.
Fail.
He was in Commando.
Oh,
Inner
that's
Space.
Inner Space.
He's the guy in the glasses with the detachable hand.
Oh, okay.
That's him.
All right.
He put on weight. at some point.
All right. Anyway, so out of John Hughes, so one thing that John Hughes was known for is he actually had his own record label because he was about music. He was huge on music. So one of the things that helped John Hughes write was that it was music. So he would throw in an album.
Music is so oddly
that.
prevalent in like his movies. Like
that's why. The music was a part of the film. There wasn't like an interchangeable thing. You can take this and then take something and bring it else. And no, like each song that was in the film had a purpose.
There were certain scenes had songs that had a certain tone to them.
Oh yeah,
like the Epiphany scenes always had this light, almost ethereal or atmospheric sort of like elevator-ish music,
like loungy.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yep.
But
so,
like anytime they had an epiphany like that.
In Pretty in Pink, she's when Molly is walking down the street, there's a song that's coming on, right? Mm-hmm. And it's New Order. And if anybody doesn't know who New Order is, they were the ones who originally did Blue Monday. They have a couple other big songs too. For the life of me, I'm spacing. But it was called, Alasia, I think is what it's called. And it is a fantastic. I loved it so much. Just that one fucking little scene. But the music was so serious. It was so intense. It was so appropriate. It was so dramatic. And it shifted the mood down.
And it's just like, I feel the same way about when Steve Martin finally gets on the train to go home and he starts realizing that's
He's
what
thinking
really
back.
clicked in my head. Is like he does that a lot when you have those epiphany moments or the change. When the character has a moment of growth or change, that's when that music kicks in.
Like you said, like kind of like the epiphany, the moment of clarity or whatever.
It's the really the poignant part of
Buck.
When he's in the car.
Well, when the mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Like they're like looking across the room. She walks in, set her shit down, and like they're just like standing there. There's this intense.
There's that part, when like he's driving, like Tia's walking down the sidewalk after leaving the party, and he's just driving behind her. Or when he's got the kids in the car, like he's gonna take them to the track, and he has that moment.
Yep.
Like that's all. Like he's very good about using music in those points.
Well, the reason why is because he was huge. He was a music person. He was big into British punk. He loved his British punk stuff.
That's like that music. Like now thinking about it, like those songs, even though that like there's not a lot of words to them, like I can kind of feel the British influence to them.
Yeah,
the bit that I know of, like I can gather that it's more European or British than it is American.
Yeah,
would be my better.
I get that. I definitely can get that. But if anything, like I said, the soundtrack. Yeah, his films have a soundtrack.
Oh, most definitely.
And it's not just a soundtrack to a film. It's a soundtrack to the lives.
Yep.
And the fact that it's the 80s, he's using 80s music is very, obviously, that's appropriate because it's what's coming out at the time. But if you really want to analyze that, the films that are in those fucking movies at the time, we know them now before they were this big hit thing, but he knew what to throw in there. And there's still that kind of shit that you get now. You could still relate to.
Do you know?
Just like the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
That fucking it was the biggest song because of the Breakfast Club.
Yep. Do you know what I just realized about those scenes too? Is like that music cuts in, all other sound basically drops out.
Yeah, it's just music overplaying. Yeah, it leads in the forefront. Yep. And that's because, like I said, it's because when he was writing all of these scripts, it was music that helped influence the direction and the mood and all of this stuff. And I know we've had this conversation before, I'm sure, about the music and influencing and stuff like that.
Countless times, probably.
Yeah, and I know that John Cleese said is in that creative book that you got, not I bought, that he says that, music or like mood, it's the mood. It's hard to write happy shit when you're sad. It's hard to write sad shit when you're happy. So, to paraphrase. So that really drives the force on his films, and he uses music very heavily on his films. Yeah, and every scene that has it was very I feel like every film I've seen the music was very appropriate. It had a purpose for that scene.
Yeah,
he did it well.
He always made it, like I say, those epiphany scenes, like the way that they were done, like audibly,
it was
like
good.
You knew this is the part that's supposed to matter.
Yep, and it's good, and it was really good. Like I said, New Order, that Alasia song, I had to look it up because I'm like, oh, I love this. Yeah. I love this tone. I love this sound. It was just this instrumental guitar thing, and it was just so appropriate. And
for sure,
it was just fantastic. But he had a record label as well.
Really?
That he had. I don't remember. I didn't write that down. Oof. I would have.
Maybe somebody should have taken some notes.
Maybe I didn't feel it was that important.
Well, I asked, so.
But yeah, he had a record label, and he I don't think it really picked up or got very big or anything like that, but he definitely was a big music influence. And I guess that was it. Molly and Anthony Michael Hall didn't like each other at first when they first met. For 16 Candles.
I knew that
somehow. They didn't they initially didn't like each other. And so John Hughes took them both to a record shop, and then they found out that they bonded with the same type of music.
Oh, that's legit.
And that's cool. What made that relationship so, I guess, nice over the couple years.
It sounds like that's the other thing that sounds like was important as for him as a director and everything is he had a lot more interaction with his actors. Yes.
All the actors that worked with, he was the kind of guy that he would write something, and then he would go, okay, so this is the scene. This is what I have written. Let's try it this way, but I want your input.
Yeah.
Should we change something? What should we do? How do you feel about this? He was more about working with the actors instead of just going, this is how I want it, and let's do it this way. He let ego. He kind of essentially, I guess, let the ego aside. He pushed it aside. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, is he had this horrible tendency to take things personal. So when people didn't like what he was writing or what he had to do or something like that, it was almost like if he was asked to change it, he resisted. It was too much.
He'd sooner get rid of it.
Yeah. He just took it too personal or whatever. Yeah. That's why a lot of people didn't work with him anymore. It wasn't because they didn't want to, it was because he didn't ask them to anymore because they didn't like this one role, like Molly Ringwald. Like I think she asked him to like change the writing, not write it for whatever reason, and Something Kind of Wonderful. Because he originally was writing it for her, like we talked about.
Yeah,
but
she said no for some reason.
Because I think it's because she, like you said, I think it's because she thought it was good the way it was. Yeah. For her, the character to not, but she, I think, told him not to write it for her.
That's very possible.
And
because
then he took it personal.
Ended their that was the last relationship.
Yeah,
that was the last time they conversed or anything.
Yep, they didn't do anything ever again.
I think the only other thing they did was when they did like a tribute after he died. Like I think they did something like her and John Cryer or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, it was one of those things where he just took things personal. So I don't know.
He to me kind of has the same interaction that like for the longest time Kevin Smith did with his writing, where like Kevin Smith just wrote like roles for his friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the only other director I can liken him to in that respect. I don't know enough about other directors, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I can get it. I can see that.
But
for sure. Kevin Smith is about as close and related to his actors as John Hughes is. I mean, I think John Hughes Kevin Smith was a big John Hughes fan. So it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not like he is. He's a huge John Hughes fan.
That's what I'm saying. I believe it. I do.
Yep. Like that was his idol. Yeah. So it makes perfect sense. I do think that, well, mind you too, he was a middle-aged 30-year-old that could relate and connect with all these middle-aged teenagers, these 16 and 17-year-olds. Yeah. Like he didn't work with a lot of anybody who's older than 18. So that is, first of all, you would think creepy, but no.
And nowadays it'd be considered creepy. But
it seems like it should be creepy, but just because of the age gap. But I don't know why it would be considered creepy. To be honest, I think it's just the fucking.
It's only creepy due to perception. It's not creepy in and of itself.
Looking at outside.
Yeah, nothing untoward happened. I would assume.
Not. Yeah.
So I mean, as and not to besmirch his name, I'm just saying I assume because I don't know.
It's true.
So nothing untoward happens. So it doesn't have to be creepy that like you're working with these kids. I mean, especially because it's your job to direct them.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're saying, "Okay, come hang out at my house after work."
I think the only thing that comes off a little, I guess, strange is that all of his films dealt with teenagers, and I think that's where I feel like it may come off creepy. I personally don't, but I could see today's kids or today's people just tearing them apart.
But then you have to look at all these young adult authors too, like that are writing.
Yeah, that's
all these books about teenagers falling in love.
Extremely valid.
Why are you?
John Green, perfect example. Yeah. John Green is the
you and I have talked about him.
Author version of fucking John Hughes. That's an epiphany I just had.
You and I have had this discussion though. Like
John Hughes writes so well with the teenagers and stuff like that for his films, and John Green does the exact same thing that John Hughes could do, only in books.
Yep.
Whatever the fuck reason John Green can write teenage, but he can get in the fucking mindset of a goddamn teenager, and it hits the mark. Yeah, it fucking hits the nail right on the head and just drives it down. Yeah. I didn't like John Green at first, but I after searching for Alaska, I'm like, that's so fucking good. And then I read some of his other stuff. I'm like, yeah, not my favorite literature, but my God, this dude's fucking good. Yep. There's a reason why he's 30-something fucking years old. Right. Maybe even 40 now. I have no fucking idea.
I mean, there's something to be said about the fact that, having lived through it helps, but...
Yeah. I mean, either way, like, if I was to try to think back 15 years ago, 20, even 20 years ago, I would not do myself justice. No. Then again, I tend to move on from that life, and I think that's the other thing about like John Hughes is I don't think he ever really moved on from his life. He held on to so much. He was a person who held on to grudges. Yeah. So I think that is what really helped with his writing. So
I believe it.
Out of all the films you can think of, at least most recent ones that you've watched, what would you say had the best soundtrack that would fit for that film? Now, that's a challenging one, and I was wanting to bring this up earlier, but...
Okay. So I'm torn because, honestly speaking, thinking of The Great Outdoors and the music that they played, like, for it, the raccoon interludes, yeah, things like that. I thought they were well done, and it had those soft points where like, the sound fell away and like and whatnot. Not as well done as like when John Hughes actually directed. Yeah. But I mean, it had those. So I mean, I feel like if I think of the songs I can really remember, that one fits very well. Obviously, like Some Kind of Wonderful, the soundtrack is done very well again. And that one's done very much in the style of John Hughes, I feel like.
Well, I mean, he was the writer, and the one thing about the writers is it's not like they just write the script, and sometimes it happens where they just pass it on to the studio. But John Hughes, I think, was one of those that he was right there.
He was there to give notes and shit.
Yeah, he was like an executive producer or whatever. Or
even kind of filming-wise with that one, like... I feel like the
very similar style.
Similar style, like even the lens, I feel like was similar because I don't know. Just
you had a limited variation of cameras though back then, right. So you only dealt with 35, 37, or even a 50.
Yeah.
And if you went to a 70, that was very unheard of because it was super hard to get that in theaters. Sure. So I mean, you only had limited, and most people shot a 37
I think I kind of mean
35.
like filters and whatnot that they may have used to adjust the color a little bit.
No.
I feel like that one was very much along the same lines as what John Hughes would have done.
Yeah. That very well could have used the same shit.
But that's another one that there's never a song that stands out, but all the music fits.
Yeah. I think that unfortunately feel like The Breakfast Club is probably like the one that had the most iconic
God,
hits.
yes.
That and Ferris Bueller had the most enjoyable hit. And it's mainly just that parade.
Yeah.
And
Twist and Shout, right?
Yep, Twist and Shout.
I don't care for that song, but whatever.
I don't either, but it's when you watch
it's
that
iconic, and
and when you watch that scene, you're like, dude, everyone's having a fucking blast. It's a giant party, you know. It's that it's choreographed that way, but and then you have Don't Forget About Me, and obviously that was
that one just kind of
biggest iconic song that defined a era.
that song summed up the movie.
Yes, it did.
Essentially,
it did. It was
the chorus at least summed up the movie.
Yeah, it was the soundtrack. It was just that one song. That's all. If you had that one song play throughout the entire film, that's all you need. Yep. I honestly think that from the films I've recently watched, I really thought that, although it wasn't my favorite, Pretty in Pink had probably the best soundtrack, in my opinion. And it really does help the fact that you had heavily music influence in the film itself.
Yes,
the whole record store and stuff like that, and it kind of helped kind of go, okay, that's why. But
sure, yeah.
I just and there always seems to be a dance scene in each of his films, some little dance scene. So look, if you look at like 16 Candles, they go to the prom, they go to the dance, that right there. If you look at Breakfast Club, they're dancing in the fucking library.
Yeah, when they get stoned. Yeah.
If you look at Weird Science, I mean, I think there's a couple that you mentioned one in Jazz Club, or no, that never.
They go to the jazz bar, yeah.
I don't know, I don't remember.
But when they have the party, like, I guess they never really dance.
Don't know. I'd have to rewatch that one, but. Was it Ferris Bueller? There's a big dance scene.
Yep.
Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. I think that one probably doesn't.
There's not enough, like, this is going to come out kind of weird, but there's not enough female interaction for there to be a dance scene, really.
I mean, I was actually thinking about both of them dancing at some point, or one of them. It doesn't have to be, like, look at Uncle Buck. He's dancing with the freaking, what's her name, the neighbor chick.
Oh, Marcy.
Yeah.
When she's like grinding on his hip.
Yep. And when his girlfriend comes in, he's just back and forth, just staring at her like, this is awkward, but he doesn't stop.
Hey, this is Marcy.
Hi, honey.
I love when he sends her away after that scene. It's like, wow, I guess I'll just go home and wait for the UPS guy.
But yeah, he seems to have
like a party or a dance scene.
Yep.
That seems to be the running theme. There's usually one of those two things happening.
Yeah. Yep. Because Pretty in Pink, John Cryer.
Yep.
He's dancing in the record store. Yep.
Like I say, Weird Science, they have the big party.
They do have the big party. I guess I haven't seen Weird Science in
Weird Science,
a couple
I don't know
years.
if there's necessarily a dance scene, but there's a big party. And the same thing with Uncle Buck. There's a big party in that one, too. So I think he either had parties or he had dance scenes.
Yeah. I mean, either way. Well, I don't think I have much else to say. So I think
good, yeah.
I think we're good. That's John Hughes, folks.
Yep.
John Hughes. And if you don't know anything about John Hughes, then you've been living on a fucking rock, or you're just really showing our age.
What did Biggie say? If you don't know, now you know.
I have no idea. So I must not know.
I think that was a Biggie thing. I think he said the N-word at the end, but I'm not going to say that.
Oh, okay. Well, then it didn't happen. But yeah, John Hughes, film director, writer, producer, pop culture phenomenon. Icon.
Really should be an icon. I mean,
I think he's an icon. Yeah. He did so much
for sure.
That just like pop culture the 80's. Made it what it is.
Most incredible.
And he's a weird looking guy.
I can't remember the last picture I saw him. But yeah,
he's got a mullet, big glasses, kind of a piggy face.
Probably just rolling in puss.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's all we got. So that was John Hughes. I think we'll have to talk about what we're going to do next. We'll keep you in mind.
We'll just do like a 2-minute blurb to let you know who we're doing next.
You know what? We won't even do that because we don't want to disappoint you. We don't give your expectations up.
We want to surprise you.
Surprise you. Because if we do it that way, it saves our butt.
Yeah, that's true.
In case we drop the ball.
We can call an audible.
Right? In case we drop the ball. Oh, let's talk about, this thing. Well, guess what? We're not talking about that. We're talking about this.
For sure.
Anyway, I'm Timothy Bennett.
This is Aram Bannon.
And we'll catch you later.
Peace.
Peace.